Alright everyone, welcome back to some more of the house in Fata Morgana. So it looks like we're finally learning more about the truths that this final door has to offer, but I'm still curious to how that truly entails the two main characters of Mikkel and Giselle. So we're going to continue on from there guys and see where it leads, and I hope you all continue to enjoy watching. Let's get to it. Alright guys, and we are back. Before long, a crowd began to form around me and the sobbing mistress, and in it stood him. I assumed he would just stand back and watch. But much to my surprise, he stepped in, with an embarrassed look on his face, to try to settle his wife down and convince her not to have me executed. Maybe he did have a heart after all. Or maybe he just wanted to save face. Regardless, instead of being burned at the stake, it was decided that I would be sent away to some remote forest. One of the previous Bollinger family heads had purchased a mansion there long ago, but it had been abandoned because of the stories people told about it. They said a cursed witch dwelled in the house. She had returned to life after being executed, and now skulked about in the darkness. It was the perfect place to banish a sinner. And so, accused of adultery, I was in a carriage on my way out of the capital the next day. I hope my mom and sister are alright. The two of them will believe in me, even if no one else does. The wooden wheels turned, carrying me away to that cursed mansion. Just a silent coachman and his single sullied passenger. Looking out through the window, I could see the city walls slowly fading into the distance behind us. I doubted I would ever set foot in this land again. Ever cross the Grand Pont again? It was a saddening reality, but at the same time, I felt a surge of relief. I had finally escaped from that house. I had finally escaped from that man. This sense of freedom slightly lessened the weight of everything else I was feeling. A good while after we left the capital, the coachman handed me a letter. On the sheet of parchment was a rather startling revelation. There was someone else already living at the house where I was sent to reside. The Bollinger's youngest child. But the letter didn't say why he had been sent to the cursed mansion, only that he was there. Beyond that, the letter only made a single request, that I look after him and not ask any questions. So I'm not just being sent off to the middle of nowhere. I still have work to do. If I look after whoever's at the mansion, then they'll do the same for my family. I don't have much to say in the matter either way, I suppose. The carriage rattled and shook as it traversed a stony path and bouncing around inside it. I resolved to take back my life. The peace I had once known, the cheerfulness I had lost, and to do so, I would forget. Lock away my memories. Bury every terrible thing that had happened to me. Cast aside those memories and find my smile once more. I have no idea who I'm gonna find there, but they couldn't possibly do anything worse to me. I'll greet them with a smile, and do my best to build up a decent relationship with them. I figured since the both of us have been banished to the same cursed mansion, there would probably be other things we had in common. And so, I would forget it all, and get my life back. Get my smile back. Ah, that sucks. And that was everything that led up to me arriving at the mansion. All the wounds I never wanted to open again. I didn't want to think about that. I've been trying so hard to forget about it. I wanted to forget all about it. So why? Why did you have to make me remember? All I did was believe. Believe that we could make things work. Why? How could you? God, I can't take it anymore. Once the memories had broken free, they all flooded back with perfect clarity. Exactly how he ran his hands across me. Exactly where he hit me. Where he cut me. Like I was going through it again this very moment. The rain was cooling me down on the outside, but so much nauseating heat had built up in my gut. I vomited all over the ground. I threw up and I threw up and I threw up until there was nothing left but bile. And when I had nothing left to expel, the strength evacuated from my knees and I collapsed. I didn't know if everything was blurry because of the rain or because my eyes had decided they were done looking at anything. The whole world twisted before me. Mikkel's no different. My attempts to get close to him, to always keep a smile on, it was all a waste. The look in his eyes was terrifying, like he didn't believe in anything at all. So he probably wouldn't have believed me if I had told him the truth. If he's convinced I have an ulterior motive, there's probably no changing his mind. Such a cold rain. If I lie down here and go to sleep, I wonder if all the warmth will eventually drain from my body. And then I'll decompose and become part of the earth. You know? That might actually be nice. I'd like that. I always thought I didn't want to die. That I wanted to go back to the way things were. But who cares anymore? I did my best after all. And that still got me nowhere. Cheerful Giselle was all just a farce. And when I'm dead, all my worry from my mom and sister will fade away with me. Oh God, I thought you have a place for me on high. I am, after all, an unclean woman, and I've given up on living altogether. But even if I can't get into heaven, that's okay. I want release. The rain pitter-pattered down through the leaves overhead, chilling my skin. The cold spread through my flesh and into my bones, my heart and lungs and stomach, freezing me like a block of ice. My consciousness drifted away from me, and the world slipped through my fingers. More than fear, I felt relief. Utter black, and that, I was sure, was the end of me. I really feel bad for this girl. And that, I was sure, was the end of me. I am even now putting her through a harrowing experience, digging up the memories she locked away, the past she wanted to pretend never happened, and laying it all out before her once more. But I must get her back to who she once was, even if it means forcing her to endure this. She must remember everything, because I need to know. Why did she become the maid? And what secrets does this house hold? You're Mikkel. Yes, my name is Mikkel. I am not the white-haired girl. The person you were searching for was the man who once hurt you deeply. Me. Why? What was her why referring to? Why I hurt her? Or why I'm here? Or perhaps, why I didn't show up until now? Not having an answer for her, I clenched her cold hands in mine. I wonder, were her hands this cold that night too? There's still more we need to see though, and it's still too soon for me to apologize. When she's gotten everything back, only then can I. Once she's reclaimed herself, that is when I must tell her. Now let us return to our past. Our story has only just begun. No matter what we thought or what we desired, no matter what we lost or how much pain we suffered, we must not shut this door. Perfect darkness embraces us once more. I can see nothing, not even the woman beside me, but I shall not let go of her hand. I do not want her to slip away from me. I do not want to lose her. Now it's his turn to hold her hand and not let go. We... Stay with me. Are you alright? Oh, thank goodness you're awake. How's your head? Can you see me? What? You had me scared silly there. I thought I might have lost you for good. I'm really glad you're alive. Where am I? And who is this man? What was I doing? You filling up for any food? I can whip up some porridge for you right quick. I was in the forest. It was raining. Before that, I was at the mansion. I feel sick, like there's still something in my stomach. No, thank you. I don't want anything. You really should have something. You need to keep up your energy, unless you want to conk out again in an hour. Sounds good to me. I'd rather never wake up at all. You're not in the highest of spirits either, it seems. All the more reason to get something warm in you. Please have something. I got some milk on the fire. I bet you can handle a cup of that. You start losing all hope once the cold gets that deep in you, reaches down to your core. Take me at my word, please. Just one sip. You'll feel like a whole new gal. A heart-wrenchingly pleasant aroma wafted up with the steam from within the wooden cup. Succumbing to the sweet smell, I lifted the cup to my lips for just one sip, and the warmth that spread through me brought tears to my eyes. Perhaps there really was kindness in this world. A ripple spread across the surface of the milk. I heard a gentle sigh come from the man beside me, after which he said with a smile, "You should take it easy for the day." I had lost the willpower to think about anything. I didn't care what had happened to me or why I was here, who he was, or even where this was. I spent the whole day in bed, just watching the sun slowly slide across the wooden floor. It felt like I was somewhere far, far away. At times, I felt like a lost child, and at times, like a sickly old woman under her deathbed. Watching the sun travel gave me a renewed awareness of the passage of time, and the fact that each moment that went by was another moment I was alive. I realized then that it had been a while since I'd forgotten more than a brief glimpse at any sunlight. It almost surprised me how colorful the world seemed beneath the sun's light, something I didn't get much of in the dark mansion. Only after losing something do you realize how much you need it. Warm milk, the light shining through the window, and a bed that smelled like springtime. With those three things, my heart slowly began to defrost, and I started to regain the willpower to stand on my own 2 feet. Thank you for everything. You sure you're in any shape to be on your feet? Yes, I'm fine. I'm not hurt. You look pretty beat up to me. But you look a lot better now, and you're talking a lot more clearly than before. You've been very generous despite having never met me before, and for that you have my deepest gratitude. Without your help, I would no longer be in this world. I don't deserve your thanks. You are alive now because God's guidance made it so. God. I came across you early this morning as I was heading into the forest to hunt. Imagine my surprise seeing a young lady like you on the ground in my path. What were you doing in the forest? You don't have to tell me if you'd rather not. Everyone's got their own share of personal problems. You're not going to demand I talk? I have no reason to force you to do anything. You look like you've been to hell and back. What? I could tell just looking at you. Now then, do you have somewhere you can go? Somewhere to go? Of course I don't. I can't go back to the capital or the mansion. If not, then why don't you stay here? Here? Sure, it's a small village. We're self-sufficient and we all help each other out. No tax-hungry lords know we built this place up either, so we keep everything we make. We're pretty remote as a result, and the harvest isn't fantastic, but I'm sure you'll find it comfortable here. The rest of the villagers will be glad to have you. What do you say? Sorry, Mom. What I'm about to do might make the rest of the family's lives more difficult, but I don't want to have to feel any more pain. If I really wouldn't be inconveniencing you, if it's really okay, then yes. I would like to stay here. That's great to hear. I was loath to send you back out there in your current condition. I haven't introduced myself yet, have I? The name's Amade. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Just one lowly villager of many. I'm Giselle. Giselle? That's a beautiful name. If I'm not mistaken, there should be a vacant house. Clean it up and you can call it home. I couldn't possibly ask for that. I doubt others would like it if I just took a house for myself. That shouldn't be an issue. I'm the village representative, more or less. Representative? Like the chief? Only in name, though. As I mentioned, we're not on any lord's maps, so I don't have much representing to do. The only reason I ended up in charge is because I'm a bit more educated than anyone else. It was a long time ago, but I understudied with a priest. Because of that, I'm familiar with the Bible's teachings. So rather than a chief, the people of the village look at me more like a priest. Wouldn't be much fun if the church found out about that. They're liable to think I'm acting unordained. Then, you believe in God? That's quite the question. Of course God exists. He's always watching over us. That's why you survived, because he protected you. I understand that your faith can waver when you're going through times of tribulation, but those are the times when it's most important to keep sight of who you are. Right. Now, you get some rest. Tomorrow, I'll show you around the village. Thank you. I truly mean it. I really, sincerely appreciate everything. Don't mention it, Giselle. This is your village now, too, so you don't need to act like a stranger anymore. Okay. Amadei is a cool guy, man. Very welcoming. So he's Amadei. He seems like a nice man. Maybe here, I can live in peace. You'll be alright, I'm sure. Yeah. I wasn't silly enough to believe my life would be perfect. But I had found a tiny fragment of my lost hope. While I had once been ready to give up on absolutely everything, I was starting to feel like I might be able to smile again eventually. Like I might be able to get back on my feet. And in order to do that, I had to cast aside my past once more. Forget everything that had happened at the Bollinger estate, and everything that had happened at that mansion. Forget about Mikkel. There was one niggling curiosity, though, that I couldn't shake, something he had said before I left. My very existence threatens to tear down that house. The cursed youngest son of the Bollinger family, Mikkel, who made a pact with the devil, who is supposed to be dead but is very much alive. What had he meant by that? Why would people think he was dead? No, I don't care about Mikkel one bit. Forget it. Forget everything. The house was, as it had always been, wrapped in thick silence. Giselle's shadow, which had been lurking in the halls for about a month now, was nowhere to be found. She hadn't come back since running off that day. My secret was still safe. Her efforts had, in the end, all been for naught. Back to the way things were. But despite my mind telling me that it was for the best, I felt kind of a guilt seething in the back of my chest. And any attempts to figure out why only made me feel worse. But the look on her face then... Please, hear me out. I didn't know anything about you. I wasn't sniffing around, or trying to bring you harm in any way. Was that really her just putting on an act because I revealed her scheming? She was screaming though, and she looked genuinely terrified when she knocked my hand away. I'm not falling for anything. I feel like I know that frenzied panic. Something doesn't add up. Be quiet. Silence, please. My head was pounding beyond belief. I couldn't stand anything. This world, the creature I was, the witches whispering, the archangel looking down upon me seemed to be cackling from somewhere far out of reach. So for whatever it was worth, to escape from his gaze, I once again drew the drapes over the stained glass window. Whoa, it's someone new. Hey, where are you from? You gonna be here long? Are you? We hardly ever get visitors here, so they're downright awestruck by you. You be getting a lot of attention for a little, but please don't let it get to you. No, that's just fine. I'll do my best to get along with everyone. You've got a spark in you that wasn't there yesterday. Anything in particular that cheered you up? In particular? Once I decided I was going to stay here, I just sort of started feeling better about things. And I figured I couldn't stay gloomy forever. I see. Glad to hear it. And it's all thanks to you, Amade. Keep thanking me like that and my cheeks might get Stuck red, sorry. In any event, I said I'd show you around yesterday, so how about we do that? Lead the way. That said, we're a modest little village of about 100. Everyone knows everyone. For that size, it looks pretty big to me. Amade taking the lead as we walked through the village, passing by crop fields and milk cows, presumably shared among the villagers. Houses were scattered across an area that seemed far too large for only 100 people. Actually, getting a better look at them, the buildings were dilapidated, looking more like ruins than residences. Once upon a time, this was a city rather than a village. When your ancestors lived here? Oh no, we were drifters fortunate enough to come across some decent looking land, so we stuck around. How do you know what it was like before then? There were a few stone tablets left behind, and based on what we were able to extract from their texts, this area used to be a large city with a booming economy rivaling that of the capital. There weren't hundreds but thousands of people bustling about. Merchants from afar came in droves. It was much like how the capital is now. Actually, this area was more open to foreigners. People of all different races speaking as many different languages. It was evidently quite the sight and sound. I had no idea there was a city here. That's what happens when a place is wiped from history. I couldn't tell you how reliable the tablets are, but if you take them at their word, this city lost everything in just a single week. What? People, crops, livestock, all dead. Maybe it was a natural disaster, a famine, a plague. I can't say for sure. This is what the tablet said though. We have been cursed by the witch. I never like when they do that quick, subtle images that they show, whether it's disturbing or just a quick moment. I never liked it because it's always like a point of dark foreshadowing for me. But even if it's a calm image, it's usually something that indicates something gloomy or terrible is going to happen. Always. Most of the time. Very rarely is it ever a good thing. Cursed by the witch. Look over there. You see that river? There used to be a magnificent bridge crossing it, but there's hardly anything left of it. If you continue along the path beyond the fallen bridge, there is a forest. That's where I found you. The deeper parts of the forest are so dense you can't see anything but tree trunks and leaves. It's an eerie place wrapped in a cloud of darkness. If you make it through that, there's a mansion, which is said to be cursed. The witch who supposedly destroyed the city lives in the house deep in the forest. She's been there for years and years and years, and she casts her curse on anyone who goes near it. The city was so large that the mansion was actually in its borders. My guess is the bridge was built to mark the road leading to it. Now, as you can see, the bridge is gone, and the houses still standing are practically in ruins. But the mansion alone looks just as it did back then. The witch living in the mansion goes by the name of Morgana. According to the record, someone by that same name was executed in this area for witchcraft. And even in death, she continues to bear her grudge against mankind. Who knows how much of it is true though? Truth or fiction, the story has taken root in this region. The city's history may be lost, but the legend of the witch continues to be told. People have a tendency to keep stories alive that scare them. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. No, I'm fine. You're best staying away from the mansion and the forest at any rate. There's no saying what might happen if curiosity gets the better of you. Better safe than sorry if you ask me. Aside from the mansion, this is as peaceful a village as you'll find. I don't know where you came from, but I'm glad you didn't end up wandering up there. I know all about the mansion, and who lives there. I was there after all, with Mikkel for a full month, but I don't remember any cursed witch. Just a man with a bone-chilling glare. Maybe the rumors about a witch living there were spread by him. Perhaps even by his family. I could see them doing that, but none of that matters to me anymore. I'm never going anywhere near that house again. The witch's curse, Mikkel, they're nothing to me. With nowhere else to go, I ended up in this small village. There was no denying that there was very little to speak of here, but I found peace in that nothingness. I couldn't have been more blessed that such a kind man had found me and welcomed me into his village. The village ran entirely on its own crops and livestock. They had no currency, merely bartered among themselves. Coming from a merchant's family, everything felt so new. I had never plowed a large plot of land, milked a cow, or used a loom before. At first, I wasn't sure what to think, being such a departure from my lifestyle in the capital. But over time, I grew more comfortable in my new life, and the people of the village started thinking of me as one of them. Come on, Giselle, come play with us. We're playing hide and seek today. I can't, sorry, I'm spinning yarn. You can do that later. Come on, play with us. Stop that, don't pull on my skirt. Oh, alright, you win. When I'm done with this, I'll join you. And no ditching, we'll be down at the square, okay? Got it, see you there. The kids have taken quite a liking to you. Amade. You think so? They've been incredibly lively since you arrived. Children are more sensitive than adults. Sensitive? They're very perceptive of how others are feeling. If you begrudgingly play along, they'll pick up on that quickly. You like children, and that's a wonderful thing. There's not a good woman in the world who dislikes children. Why, thank you. I don't think it's so much that I like them, as I'm kind of like a big kid myself. I genuinely enjoy hide and seek, but that's not going to earn me any points. I like kids too. Watching them, it gives me faith that this world has a bright future. A bright future? I never looked at them that way. They seem to like you quite a bit too, Amade. Thanks. Though I'd rather give my affection to my own kids. Oh, you have children? Oh, heavens no. I thought that was obvious enough. I'm talking about the future. I see. But knowing you, Amade, I'm sure you'll find someone right for you and have kids of your own in no time. It's not that easy, sadly. Even in such a small village, there are no ladies who would take interest in me. You don't give yourself enough credit. I'm fully confident you'll find someone soon enough. Do you really think so? Absolutely. Then perhaps you could be that person. What? Pardon? I won't pressure you into it, of course. But I think it would be marvelous to have you in my life in a bigger way. But it's a little soon for me to think about settling down like that. It is pretty sudden, I admit. Take all the time you need to consider it. Alright. I have to go play with the kids now. Have fun. I wonder if he really meant it. Amade is a nice fellow, and I'm sure living here would be wonderful. But I can't help feeling something isn't right here. Yeah, I'm a little, iffy on this whole thing too. Why am I thinking about him now, of all times? That man has no redeemable qualities, not one. As it turned out, Amade was serious about his proposition, and he brought it up every time we ran into each other. Unable to give him an answer, I found myself constantly apologizing to him. Soon, winter started giving way to spring. On a day when the air still had a brisk winter bite and budding seedlings battled to break through the earth, the seams holding the village together began to come loose. Uh-oh. As usual, there's always something. That day, the village men were gathered in the square talking. They all had stern looks on their faces. It was clear that something had happened. I obviously couldn't stick my head in, so I waited until they were done and caught Amade. While it was rather awkward, I was still more comfortable asking him for information than anyone else. Actually, with a dejected look on his face, he started explaining. A lord found out about this village. What? And he said he's going to place this land under his rule, meaning he'll start collecting taxes. In addition, he's also demanding we pay 5 years worth of back taxes for our unauthorized use of the land. Oh my gosh, really? What? That's ridiculous! Yes, it most certainly is. We obviously don't have the means to pay 5 years taxes. There's no reason for him to take over this village at all. We're completely isolated from the surrounding area after all. But if we resist, he could send soldiers. It doesn't matter how absurd his claim to the village is. We have no choice but to comply. That's terrible. What are we going to do then? We're going to do as the Lord demands. The 5 years taxes will have to be paid in installments. Some of the men suggested we abandon the land and find somewhere else, but it would take time to cultivate the land and plant new crops. It's no trivial task. We'll just have to make do with these changes. We'll use more of the land to grow and try to be more efficient. Will you help in the fields? Of course. This village is my home now too. Thank you, Giselle. It'll be difficult, but if we all pitch in, I'm sure we can get through this. Famous last words, right? I thought the same thing. If we all work together, we can make it through this rough patch. Alright guys, I'm gonna have to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. We'll continue the story when we come back.